5021 Design of Machine Elements. In this lecture, we will be discussing about keys. So a key is one of the important machine element used in all mechanical power transmission systems and other machineries. So we can define a key as a machine element which is used to connect the transmission shaft to rotating machine elements like pulleys, gears, sprockets, or flywheels. So we can discuss the concept of a key with the help of these figures. So this is figure number 1, figure number 2, and figure number 3. So in figure number 1, you can see that a spur gear, a gear is attached to a shaft. So how this gear is attached to the shaft? The gear is attached to the shaft with the help of a key. Similarly, here we can see that power is transmitted between shaft 1 and shaft 2. So power is transmitted from shaft 1 to shaft 2 with the help of gear. So for power transmission, we need a gear in the driving shaft and a gear in the driven shaft. So these gears are mounted on this shaft with the help of keys. So another example is the mounting of a coupling in a shaft. So here you can see that here is a pump. This pump is driven by an electric motor. So here this is the shaft of electric motor, and there will be a shaft in the pump also. So these two shafts has to be connected. These shafts are connected with the help of a coupling. So one coupling is connected to the motor shaft, and another coupling is connected to the a part of a coupling is connected to the pump shaft. So these couplings are connected to the shaft with the help of a key. Now from this diagram we can understand the application of a key in more detail. So usually there will be a shaft, and this is the hub. So consider this earlier figure. Here there is a shaft. This is a shaft, and this is the hub coupling. So this portion is known as hub of the coupling. That is, this coupling has to be connected to this shaft. So how we are achieving this connection? We are using a key. That is, we will make a groove in the shaft as well as a groove in the hub. Groove means we are machining with the help of a milling cutter. This is known as a key way. So we will insert key in this shaft as well as hub. So here you can see that there is a shaft. We are inserting key in this groove. So this key will act as a link between shaft and hub. So the key connects shaft with the hub. So in this way we can attach gears, flywheels, couplings, etc. into the shaft. So depending upon the application, there will be different types of key. There will be different dimensions of key. Now we are using a key. What are the functions of that key? So the primary function of the key is to transmit torque from shaft to the hub of the mating element and vice versa. That means if you are using a gear transmission system or a power transmission system with the help of gears. So here there are two shafts. Power has to be transmitted from shaft 1 to shaft 2. So in shafts we know that the power transmission is by means of transmitting torque. So first torque has to be transmitted from shaft 1 to gear 1, and from gear 1 the torque is transmitted to gear 2, and from gear 2 the torque is transmitted to shaft 2. So how this is achieved? There will be a key connecting shaft 1 and gear 1. So first torque will be transmitted from the shaft to the key and from the key to the gear, because the connecting link between shaft and gear or shaft and coupling will be the key. So here also the torque produced from the motor has to be transmitted to the pump. The second function of the key is to prevent relative rotational motion between the shaft and the joint machine element like gear or pulley. in most of the cases, the key also prevent axial motion between two elements, except in the case of feather key or splined connection. That means, so consider this figure. There is a shaft and a gear is attached to this shaft with the help of a key. So the gear will not rotate itself about this shaft. When the shaft rotates, the gear also rotates along with that, or when the gear rotates, the shaft also rotates with the gear. There is no relative motion between gear as well as shaft. That means it will not rotate freely. And another function of a key is it prevents axial movement. That axial movement means movement in this direction. The gear will not move to the right side or left side. So the key will prevent the axial movement of the gear or pulley or flywheel along the shaft. Also, it will prevent a relative motion between shaft and gear. So a recess or slot machined either on the shaft or in the hub to accommodate a key is called keyway. The keyway is usually cut by a vertical or horizontal milling cutter, and the keys are made of plain carbon steel like 45C8 or 50C8 in order to withstand shear and compressive stresses resulting from transmission of torque. So we know that the key is inserted between the shaft and a gear or any another component. So these shafts are used for transmitting torque. When they transmit torque, the key will be subjected to shear as well as compressive stress. According to Indian standards, steel of tensile strength not less than 600 Newton per mm square shall be used as the material of the key. So the minimum tensile strength required for a key material is 600 Newton per mm square. Now, depending upon the application, we are using different types of keys. So some important classification is saddle key and sunk key, square key and flat key, taper key and parallel key, key with and without gib head. So in addition, there are some special type of keys like Woodruff key, Kennedy key and feather key. Now the next question is how we select a key for a particular application. So the selection of the key for a particular application depends upon the following factors. How much power we have to transmit, power to be transmitted, tightness of fit, stability of connection and cost. So these are the four factors that govern the selection of a key. That is how much power we have to transmit, tightness of fit and stability of connection and cost. Now the first type of key that we are going to discuss is saddle key. So the saddle key is a key which fits in the keyway of the hub only. In this case, there is no keyway on the shaft. So consider this figure. So in this figure you can see that there is a keyway. This is the keyway in the shaft and there is a keyway. There will be a keyway in the hub also. This is a cross-sectional view. So here is the keyway. So in the case of saddle key, there will not be any keyway in the shaft. So from this figure, we can understand there are two types of saddle keys are there. First one is a hollow saddle key and other one is a flat saddle key. So the figure A denotes hollow saddle key. So here we can see that there is no keyway . So in the case of a saddle key, there is no keyway in the shaft. The cross section you can see the cross section of the shaft. It is circular in cross section. There is no keyway. Only the keyway is provided only in the hub. And in the hollow saddle key, the bottom portion of the key will be in a curved nature. And in the case of flat saddle key, the bottom portion of the key will be flat. So here you can see that the bottom portion is curved. So So this curved portion will match with the curved surface of the shaft. It will directly fit on the curved surface of the shaft. That is the nature of hollow saddle key. The bottom will be curved shape to suit the shape of the shaft. But in the case of flat saddle key, the bottom portion of the key is flat. So since there is no keyway in the shaft, it can transmit only light torque. So it is suitable for light duty or low power transmission as compared with the sunk keys. So next type of key is sunk key. A sunk key is a key in which half the thickness of the key fits into the keyway on the shaft and the remaining half in the keyway on the hub. So in order to use a sunk key, we have to make keyways both in the shaft as well as hub, and the half the thickness of the key will be inside the shaft and the remaining half will be in the hub. So here you can see that there are three figures. So in the figure A, you can see here there is a keyway and this is the key. This is the key, and half the thickness, h is the thickness of the key, b is the width of the key. So if it is a square key, the b will be equal to h. So half of the thickness will lie inside the shaft and the remaining half will be outside the shaft. So this out portion will be inside the hub. And this case, in the second figure, you can see this is a rectangular sunk key. In rectangular sunk key, the width will be greater than the thickness. Okay. Normally, the sunk keys can be classified into square key as well as flat key depending upon its dimension. So, while selecting a square key without stress analysis, the following rule of thumb may be used. Suppose we are not considering the forces acting on the key, we have to select a key from its dimension. That is, normally we use the key for connecting a shaft with a hub. For example, shaft with a gear or shaft with a coupling or shaft with a flywheel. Suppose if the diameter of the shaft D is given, we can select a key using some empirical relation. Okay, for a square key, if you are using a square key, the breadth of the square key and thickness of the square key will be same, and it is equal to d by 4, and length of the key is equal to 1.5 d, where b is the width, h is the height or thickness of the key, and l is the length of the key, and d is the diameter of the shaft. So if the diameter of the shaft is given, using some empirical relation, we can directly find the dimensions of the key. Okay. Now the next, in the case of a flat key means a rectangular sunk key. The cross section will not be square but it will be rectangular in nature. The cross section will be rectangular and the width b is equal to d by 4 and thickness h is equal to d by 6. So width b is equal to d by 4, thickness h is equal to d by 6. That is, this is the width d by 4 and this is d by 6, and length is same 1.5 d. Now the same sunk key can be classified into two, that is parallel sunk key and tapered sunk key. A parallel key is a sunk key which is uniform in width as well as height. That means, consider a key like this. This is a key. This is the length L. A parallel sunk key means from this one end to another end, its thickness will be same. The value of h will be same. The thickness of the key throughout its length will be uniform. Such a key is known as parallel key. Now, a tapered key is a key which is uniform in width but tapered in height. The standard taper is 1 in 100. So, with the help of a figure, we can explain the tapered sunk key. So, this is a tapered sunk key. Its width W remains constant throughout its length L, but its thickness is gradually decreasing. The normally used tapering is 1:100. 1:100 means for 100 mm height, there is a reduction in 1 mm thickness. For example, the total length is, if this is 100 mm, the length of the key is 100 mm. And here the width is 10 mm. Then for a length of 100 mm, there is a reduction of thickness by 1 mm. Here it will be 9 mm thickness. So this is the case of a taper sunk key. So what is the advantage of this tapering? The tapering will ensure a proper tightness in the joint. So here there is a shaft and a coupling. The shaft is connected to the hub with the help of a taper key. The taper key will ensure proper tightness in the joint compared to a parallel sunk key. Okay. So this key is subjected to a force P. So P is the force acting on the key material which is inserted inside the keyway, because the shaft is transmitting Tmax torque or Mt. Mt is a twisting moment, is same as Tmax. Where here, from here onwards, we will denote it as Tmax. This twisting moment or torque is equal to Tmax. Tmax means maximum torque. So a force P will be acting on this key. Okay. So from the shaft, torque is transmitted to key, and this key is transmitting torque to the hub. So this will be connected to a gear or a flywheel or a coupling, anything. Okay. So we are considering the cross section of this key. So here we can see this is the cross section of that key. Initially, this is the cross section of the key, and the portion, the shaded portion, this portion will be inside the shaft, and the unshaded portion, this top portion, will be inside the hub. So what will happen? So there is a chance that the material or the key material will fail along the separating line. That is, here this, I am denoting this point as A, this point as B. What is this A and B? I am connecting a line from A to B. Connecting a line from A to B. So this line divides the key into two. Okay, when a force P is acting, there is a chance that the key will shear along this plane, AB. So the figure A, this figure denotes the shear failure of the key. So we have to make sure that when we are transmitting torque, തുറന്നിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ അവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ ആർക്കാണ്? So induced shear stress tau Ki, induced shear stress in the key, is equal to, we know the area of force by area under shear, force divided by area under shear. That is the expression for induced shear stress. So we know that P is the force acting on the key due to the transmission of torque Tmax. Okay. So here, what is the force? P is the force. Force acting is equal to is equal to P. So we know the relation between force and torque. So what if P? Now here we are making one assumption, that is this capital P force is acting along the circumference of this shaft. So if this is the shaft cross section, it is transmitting a torque T max, and there is a key. So here at this point, due to the transmission of torque, a force P is acting. So what is the relation between T max and P? This T max is equal to force into radius, this distance, P into R, or T max is equal to, what is R? D by 2. So we can write T max, maximum torque transmitted, is equal to P into D by 2. If we know the value of maximum torque acting on the shaft, we can calculate the value of force acting on the key. Similarly, if we know the value of force acting on the key P, we can calculate the maximum torque acting on the shaft. So, if we know the value of maximum torque, we can calculate the stresses acting on the key material. So, here tau Ki is the induced shear stress in the key. So tau Ki, shear stress, is equal to force acting on the key divided by area under shear. So the area under shear will be the area between these two blocks. So here a key in sheared condition is shown in this figure. A key under sheared condition. So actually the key is a single, so here is a square key, like a square prism. Okay, now here it is under sheared condition, it will be sheared into two pieces. So the area between these two pieces is the area under shear. So what is the area between these two pieces? It is W into width into length L. So from this expression we know that P is 2 T max divided by D. Here T max is equal to P into D by 2. So P will be 2 T max divided by D into W into L. So this is the expression for finding induced shear stress in the key material. Similarly, we can calculate the induced crushing stress in the key, sigma Ck I. So what is crushing stress? Crushing stress is also known as compressive stress. So here in this region we can see that there is a contact between shaft as well as key. So the shaft and key is under a compressive stress. Okay, so when a force P is acting in this key material, there is a compressive stress acting in this key, as shown in the second figure, figure number B. The force P is acting in this shaded area only, because the remaining portion is outside the shaft. So the area inside the shaft is subjected to a crushing stress P. So what will be the value of crushing stress? Sigma Cky. Crushing stress in the key, induced, I means induced crushing stress in the key, will be P divided by area under crushing or compressive forces acting in this shaded area, that is total height of the key is H by 2 into length L. Okay, L into H by 2. So from this expression we know that P is 2 T max divided by D, so which is equal to 2 T max divided by H by 2 into L. So it is 2 T max divided by D into D. So what will be the value? 4 T max divided by, instead of H, here it is mentioned as H. H is equal to thickness. H is equal to T. L T D. I am using T instead of H because H denotes height or thickness. So here we can make it, H is equal to T. Here in some figures it is mentioned as h, as height of the key. It is same as thickness of the key t, LTD. So we have induced shear stress is equal to 2 T max divided by LWD, and induced crushing stress is equal to 4 T max divided by LTD, where L is the length of the key, W is the width of the key, T is the thickness of the key, and D is the diameter of the shaft. Now we can discuss how we can design a key with the help of these expressions. The first step in the design of key is the comparison of permissible crushing stress and shearing stress of the key material. Suppose if the key material is specified and its allowable or permissible crushing stress and shearing stress is given, first we have to compare these two parameters, that is sigma Ck, permissible crushing stress, and tau K, shearing stress. If there is a relation like this, that is if sigma Ck is equal to 2 times tau K, if there is a relation like this, then you have to choose a square key. Okay. Otherwise, we can choose a rectangular key. So first you have to check is sigma Ck is equal to 2 times 2k, then you can choose a square key. Now suppose if sigma Ck is 2 tau k, we are designing for a square key. And for a square key, we can take the width and thickness are same, and it is equal to d by 4. And if sigma Ck is not equal to 2 times tau k, we have to choose a rectangular key. In that case, width of the rectangular key is d by 4 and thickness of the rectangular key is d by 6. And in both cases, length of the key is equal to 1.5 d. Length of the key in each shaft is equal to 1.5 d. Okay. So now from this step, what we have done, we have decided the breadth of the key. We have width of the key, thickness of the key, and length of the key. So we have decided, so we have calculated the width of the key, thickness of the key, and length of the key. Length, width, and thickness we have calculated. Now we have to check the induced shear stress and crushing stress of the material using the strength equation. So we have already discussed the induced crushing stress and shear stress equation. Tau K is equal to 2 T max divided by LWD. So when doing this calculation, if we know the value of maximum torque, we can calculate the induced shear stress. And if we know the value of maximum torque transmitted, we can calculate the induced crushing stress. If the calculated values of induced shear stress and crushing stress are less than the permissible values, our design is safe. If the calculated values of induced shear stress and crushing stress are less than the permissible values, our design will be safe. So we will be doing some problems related to design of key. So go through these equations very carefully, and in the coming classes we will be discussing those problems.